Several years ago, I could not make a decision to save my life, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. It turns out I had what was called decision fatigue. Did a little research to see if I could help myself out, and up came minimalism. It was just what I needed to set my daily life up for success and get rid of decision fatigue once and for all. The 11 rules I'm sharing with you today have changed my life, and I think that they could do the same for you. Let's get started. The very first rule is the 20-20 rule, and that's going to help any of you who are on the fence about a particular item. I think that the minimalists came up with this one. They are so good. And basically, it's if you have an item that is $20 or less, and you can replace that item in 20 minutes or less, then it's okay to part ways with that item. And you know what? I have never had to go replace that item. I guess it's just good to know that you can if you need to. But in all likelihood, these items that we think that we need, we really don't. And this rule just helps you out a little bit. It just gives you that extra permission to go ahead and part ways with something, knowing that if you had to replace it, it's a total possibility. Now, this one and the last rule are my absolute favorites, but I do love them all, and they have all helped me. It is called, well, at least this is what I call it, don't do it 2 days in a row rule. And basically what that means is it's okay to miss something such as exercise or maybe eating good or something like that. Or if you have to take a day off of decluttering when you intended to do decluttering. So basically, it's okay to do that for one day, but you don't do that for 2 days in a row. And think about that. If you miss, let's say, your exercise for one day, it's fine. But if you miss it that second day, it tends to turn into the opposite type of behavior that you're shooting for, right? But of course, there's going to be days where you're not perfect. But this is the standard that I try to veer toward, and it has really helped me out. I know I said the last one was my very favorite, but this one here is so good, and it probably is my very favorite, actually, and that is choosing experiences over stuff. I used to be one of those people that thought surrounding myself with a bunch of stuff was the ideal way to go. I just had this vision of myself basically having everything I could ever dream of in my house, in my possession. And what I found out after doing that for a few years is that is just not the way that I want to live. But after I found minimalism, it just put that experience category front and center. If you are faced with a discretionary purchase, something that you really don't need to have, it is always good to think to yourself, if I spent money on this, then I can't spend money on that. Do I really need this, or could I use this money that I would have spent for an experience versus this item? You know, now that I'm going through this list again, they're all my favorite, actually. I'm serious, because this one has been the cornerstone of really minimalism for me, and that is not settling, especially when it comes to returning an item. I'm now not trying to make something work that once I got it home, I discover, wait a minute, the lighting is different. This doesn't fit me quite the way I thought it did in the store. And you know where I'm going with this, right? I mean, we've all had this happen to us. But I used to talk to myself and say, wait a minute, it's good enough. You know, I don't feel like looking for anything anymore. But you know what? You don't have to settle. Even if it takes you a little bit of time to find something that you actually like better, it is okay. Delayed gratification is actually a good thing. So the next time that you bring something home and it's not quite right, don't settle on it. And the other side of this coin is if things that you already own are not good and you don't feel good in them, you're not confident in them, that is also settling. So don't do that either. You don't want to have things that you don't feel good in. This next one is from my dad, and it's called "It's Okay to Make It Right" rule. And basically what that is one day I was talking to my dad on the phone, and I was saying, I wish I would have bought this instead of that. And he said, Bren, life is too short. If you feel like you should have bought that and you feel so strongly about it, and it's really bothering you, go ahead and make it right. I had a friend and she had red walls. And when I went to her house, I thought, oh my gosh, these are gorgeous. I cannot believe how beautiful her home looks. I found out the paint color that she had. I went home and I painted my walls the same color. It was overwhelming and I did not feel calm in my home at all. And I guess it's one of those things where it's okay to visit, but it's certainly not okay to bring it home. And I didn't know that, but I had to make it right. So if you have something, whether it's a purchase in your home or it is the home itself even, make it right because life is just too short not to. Make sure that every single thing in your wardrobe is a 10 out of 10. I don't even think 9s are good enough. I think that you should have only 10s in your wardrobe. And think about it this way. If you're going on vacation, what do you generally pack? All of your best things, right? You want to look good. You want to feel good. Well, why are we not doing that same thing in our daily life? What if you had to get out of your house quick? What would you grab? Because of my decision fatigue for a long time, I just chose a basic uniform. I had the same shirts and the same pants in different colors. And one day I woke up and I was just so sick of living like that, I couldn't do it anymore. If you have to replenish your wardrobe just because you're a minimalist or striving to be more minimal or have a more simple living life, that does not mean that you can't have the clothes that you need or that you feel good in. So in every category of clothing items that you have, you want to wear them. There's nothing that is lingering in the bottom of your drawer or in the back of your closet. Everything is something that you want to pull out, and it's all a 10. Now this next one is called Everything Has a Home Rule, and it has surely helped me out over the years. I'm telling you, having a home for every single item in your home, that's kind of funny, isn't it? Having a home for every single item in your home. Having a place, I guess, where everything goes in your home. And if an item does not have a home and you cannot find a home for that item, feel free to part ways with it because in all likelihood, you actually don't need it. I had these little stools that I made into end tables in my family room. My family room is just so tiny that it cannot accommodate a real end table. And so I thought, oh, this is kind of cute. I was at Target one day and I thought they're so small, they can actually fit on the end of my couch in both areas, like over here and over there. And oh my gosh, did I discover what a mistake that was. And I thought that this would be their home, right? I went around my house, I tried to see, these are so cute, could I use them somewhere else? I could not find a home for them, so back to Target they went, and I have not missed them one day. One thing that was a big concern for me when I started to be a minimalist is all of the people that basically say you can only have one of something. And you know what? Sometimes that's just not practical, especially when you have a bigger family. And I felt like, you know what? I'm going to make this minimalism, I'm going to make it my own. I feel like minimalism is keeping what is important to you in your life. And that means if you have a real passion for handbags, and I used to, so I know I'm speaking from experience here. If you have a passion for handbags and you want to own 10 of them, why not? That's okay, because you know what? That is what you like. Now, if you don't love handbags and you have a bunch of them, of course, that is a section of your life that you can declutter. And that's what I want to tell you today, is that being a minimalist, I guess this rule would be called be your own minimalist. It's just about what is good for you. You don't have to get rid of everything in your home that you love. It's all about getting rid of the fluff, getting rid of the things that don't add value to your life so that, guess what? You can recognize what does. I want to make sure that I have more things going out of my house than I have coming in my house. I actually keep a declutter bag on my coat rack, and if I see something that I'm not using, whether it's for an activity that we're no longer doing, or maybe an art project that I'm not completing in a timely manner, it's just kind of sitting there collecting dust. Those kind of things I declutter all the time. And that way, when I do need to make a purchase and I bring something into my home, it doesn't feel like too much. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you do as well. Do you get rid of more than what you have coming in? I would be really curious, and let me know what you get rid of as well. the rule of intentional purchases. I try to set myself up for success. If I want something, I check my closet before I press that complete purchase button. Maybe I come across some pants and I'm like, oh, these are so cute, but I already have 10 pairs of black pants. That's just an example. I don't have 10, I probably have 4. But the bottom line is that I make sure that I check around my home and see if there's something that I have that I could use already instead of buying that new item. And another thing that I do is I make sure that I give myself a cooling off period. I do not press that complete purchase button right away. I make sure that I give myself a day or two and I just leave it in the cart. And if I feel like going back and getting that a couple days later, I will. And oftentimes that never happens. Oftentimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I didn't purchase that. Another rule is called don't keep it for the kids rule. I no longer keep things for my kids thinking that they will want it. If I have an item that I come across, I'll ask them. And you know what? If they say no, I listen to them. I don't keep it anyway. This has saved me so much space in my storage room, I cannot even tell you. Because last year, I went through all of the things that I saved for them, and it was insane. I could not even believe the quantity of stuff that I had saved. I'm shocked because I am a minimalist, yet this one category, I thought to myself, well, it's okay to keep it because my kids could use it one day. Now here is how I repurposed the giant bins that I used to have for my kids. I had 6 of these things. Now you can see I still have 2 of them. I actually stack them inside of one another so that it could be real strong for all of these tools and that. This is one thing that I would suggest you don't do, and that is keep a bunch of things for your kids that you didn't even ask them if they wanted. The never keep it just in case rule is also a really good one. Don't keep something just in case. If you're not using it right here, right now, it is not necessary for you to keep that item. It's just one of those things that we do because we think, well, maybe even we're raised like that, right? Well, I'll keep this just because one day I might use it. But try to veer away from that way of life and that way of behavior, because that will truly have a negative effect for you. It will give you a house full of clutter because there are so many of those items that fall under that category. And you don't want a house filled with things that are for just in case scenarios. I'm going to include in my description a few extra videos that you just might enjoy. Hi, I'm Bren. I'm so happy you're here. I share weekly videos on simple and minimalist living, decluttering and organizing, creating a cozy home, and ways to live your best life. If you love these topics as much as I do, please subscribe to my channel.